Tim Bradley out there doing boss's work and doing a real good job as he makes an amazing argument about why Gervonta Davis's whole career is a fraud and why this fight with Lamont Roach is so bad. And it has to mean that there's something really wrong with Tank and people don't want you to see it because he can't be as good as we think he is because he's fighting Lamont Roach. Only problem, Tim, you did the same thing, Tim. Let's talk about that and why Tim Bradley deserves Actor of the Year in this video. First things first, I have been a big Tim Bradley fan his entire career. In fact, I think I might have been, during Tim Bradley's career, Tim Bradley's biggest fan. I rooted for him when he fought Devin Alexander. I rooted for him every time he fought Manny Pacquiao. I was even one of the people that was saying, hey, when he got the win off Manny Pacquiao, that wasn't a robbery. Big supporter of Tim Bradley during his boxing career. So when Tim Bradley said something yesterday about Gervonta Davis moving fighters up in weight and refusing to fight, of all people, Edwin De Los Santos, you better believe I was chuckling. Man, I was chuckling because I couldn't believe that this guy, and I do have respect for Tim Bradley, has gotten to the point in his life where he can lie to you straight in your face, blame people for doing things that he did, and not even blink. Man, Tim, but don't doubt me. I'm going to explain exactly what I'm talking about and why ain't no way that this guy believes what he said. Now, before I get into it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. This video, I have to say though, shout out to Tommy Hitman Hearns, specifically to you, the great Mr. Hearns. Thank you so much for the support that you have provided to the channel. Thank you so much for the signed gloves that you sent me, the shirt that you sent me. Thank you for encouraging me in what I do, talking about boxing, because although you tell me that you appreciate, or you send the message that you appreciate my work, there's nothing that I could ever do in boxing that would ever touch anything that you've ever done in boxing. So I am humbled, tremendously humbled by the statement. And thank you. And we are going to, just so you guys know, for new subscribers to the channel, we are going to be able, we have like 4 signed Tommy Hearn gloves. And we're gonna get them to new subscribers and people to come in to support the channel as a way to help us raise money for a foundation that we're attempting to help. But anyway, let me get back into the conversation because this is very, very important. First and foremost, Tim Bradley is doing something that you see very, very often. And it is called forgetting where you came from. See, when Tim Bradley was a world champion, Tim Bradley did exactly what what he's accusing Gervonta Davis of doing. He just must have forgot. 5 times that I can remember, Tim Bradley fought people that came up in weight in order to fight them for championships. Now, I never accused Tim Bradley of being a bad person because of that, because I already knew that around 1960, all of the divisions in boxing were split in half. So heavyweight to light heavyweight, there was a cruiserweight. But before that, cruiserweights and heavyweights were the same thing, which is why you see so often cruiserweights going up to heavyweight. The same thing applies to all these other weight classes, 135, 140, and 147. 130 and 135. When Henry Armstrong fought at 135 and when he fought at 126 and 47, all 147, all within the same year, he fought the same at the same weight, weighed in at the same amount for each one of those fights. That is climbing weight divisions. It is not really climbing a weight division for you to jump up from 130 to 135. Because with same day weigh-ins, with day before weigh-ins, dude, everybody can make those weights. If there was same day weigh-ins like there was for all of boxing history, trust you me, Lamont Roach would have been at 135 and Devin Haney would have been at 147. But we have a mechanism in place which allows people to move up all these divisions. That's why they changed 8 divisions into 16 divisions. And guess what they're trying to do? They're trying to make it another division with bridgerweight too. So there's a heavyweight that's really a bridgerweight and a heavyweight that's really a cruiserweight. Now, that's why I never really blamed anybody for moving up in weight. And also why I don't really put a lot of stock in all this talk about moving up 8 divisions. Because it's really not 8 divisions. Historically speaking, it's 4 divisions, which is why you have welterweight and light welterweight. Why you have middleweight and super middleweight. And you have welterweight and super welterweight because they're really just second. Any way you look at, they're just second halves of the same weight division. Even if you block them up and change the original point at which you're trying to figure out where the weight division starts. Now, that's a little bit of a technical discussion about the history of boxing, but I wanted you to understand that before I started going into Tim Bradley for what he said about Tank. Because Tim Bradley has without a doubt fought Brandon Rios, who's a former 130-pounder, former 135-pounder, former 140-pounder. He fought him at 147. Tim Bradley ain't never been at 130, ain't never been at 135, ever. So he's fighting small. That's a smaller guy he fought at 147. So Brandon Rios, Diego Chavez, same thing. Diego Chavez came up in weight. That Diego Chavez was not 140. I think they fought at 147. He's not a 147-pound fighter, people. That dude Chavez was at 140 and at 135. So Diego Chavez up in weight. Who else came up in weight to fight Tim Bradley? Well, let's also talk about Nate Campbell. Nate Campbell moved up and fought Tim Bradley. I do believe that was for a championship. So, and he's a 130-pounder. Joel Casamayor is a 130-pounder that Tim Bradley fought at 147 pounds. And Jesse Vargas is a 140-pounder who moved up to 147 to fight Tim Bradley. That's 5 times. Gervonta Davis has done it 3 times. Hector Garcia, Lamont Roach, and Cuellar. That's 3. You can't say that he did it with Leo Santa Cruz because Tank moved down to fight Leo Santa Cruz. So not only did Tim Bradley do this stuff himself multiple times, he also did it more than Tank. And guess what? The people that he fought were not champions moving up in weight. They weren't. They were guys fighting for belts or fighting for him for interim belts or what have you. They were just little guys that had no chance to beat him, period. And he didn't mind at all. You know why? Because that's what boxers do all the dang time. Look at Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez fought all kind of people that moved up in weight. And guess why people didn't make that big a deal of it? Because, dude, in order for Manny Pacquiao to go up 8 weight divisions, geniuses, he has to fight bigger guys. And guess what? In order for him to get those shots, those bigger guys got to fight him. So you can't blame a bigger guy for fighting a smaller guy if the only way the smaller guy is going to get the fight is if the bigger guy fights him. But guess what? In the case of Gervonta Davis, they're really not even bigger guys, with the exception maybe of Cuellar. Cuellar came from 126, but guess who else came from 126? Gervonta came from 126 and fought him at 130. Lamont Roach came from where? He started his career at 135, moved down to 130, moved back to 135. Dude has fought at 135 more times than Tank has. 130 and 135 is not a real separation for a weight class. It's 5 pounds. Okay, that's not a real weight class. The real weight classes were the 8 original ones where you went from 126 to 135. From 135, you went to 147. 12-pound jumps, not 5-pound, 4-pound jumps. With these 5-pound, 4-pound jumps, boxing is designed to allow these guys to do this. And you're always going to see with same day, with day before weigh-ins and all these extra weight classes, you're always going to see people moving up and down, up and down, up and down, because it's not really a weight class. That's why Canelo can move up and down, up and down, up and down. That's why Floyd could go to 154 and come back down to 147. Canelo, if you don't remember, fought a 147-pound champion going up in Floyd. This is stuff that has happened often in boxing. And Tim Bradley knows it. So why is Tim Bradley saying it like that about Gervonta? He's saying it like that about Gervonta because he's a bot. You know what I mean? He is a ESPN bot. And there was without a doubt a script right there. And he read that script. And guess what? I know it's a script because I've been listening to the same script all week. It's literally the same script I've heard on YouTube channel and Twitter page, Twitter page saying the exact same thing Tim Bradley said, dang near verbatim, which tells me what? That you guys are constructing these arguments and spreading them all around to try to drag Tank's name down. Thank you very much, Tim, but nobody did it to you. So I know you're working and that's your job. But dude, you are also a boxer that did it yourself. So how about you stop being a hypocrite and you just say, hey man, I can't do this to ESPN. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I really can't say that because I did it myself and all kind of other fighters do it. So to blame Tank for it, gonna make me look like a hypocrite, boss. Well, I don't care, Tim. You're gonna be out there looking like a hypocrite or you ain't getting this check. All right, well, give me that check. That's what we're dealing with. When you see somebody blatantly do something themselves multiple times, 5 times that I counted. 5 times that I counted. 5. And guess what? Tim Bradley only got like 35 fights. Gervonta got 30. He got like 35. So dude, they're right at around the same point in their career, maybe a year or two difference. But guess what? Gervonta Davis is in his 3rd weight class. Tim Bradley never got to his 3rd. Tim Bradley started at 140. And if I went into his resume, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually started at 147, went back down to 140 to compete for championships, and then went to 147. Because guess what Gervonta didn't do? Gervonta didn't start at 135, go down to 130 to have a championship, and then come back up. Which means Gervonta Davis is actually fighting people his own size, which you're not doing, which those 5 times you didn't do. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.